Have you ever solved an expression which says 2 raised to the power of 2? What of 4 raised to the power of 3? A raised to the power of 2. All those figures, all those expressions, they are indices. That means you are familiar with the word indices. So if we have 4 raised to the power of 3, we are all familiar that it's the same thing as 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4. That is 4 in 3 places. So if you have a raised to the power of 5, it means a in 5 places. And a in 5 places will be a multiplied by a multiplied by a multiplied by a. Then multiply by a, you have to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here, a is called the base. Base. While 5 is an index, or you call it power, or you can also call it an exponent. So this is an indices. Now, if you now want to understand indices very well, there are some rules that we have to follow for you to understand indices very well. So, rules of indices. Rule 1. If we have a raised to the power of m multiplied by a raised to the power of n. Anytime you see any expression in form of a raised to the power of m multiplied by a raised to the power of n will be equal to a raised to the power of m plus n. So, for example, if you have a raised to the power of 5 multiplied by a raised to the power of 2, it's the same thing as a in 5 places, a times a times a times a times a, then multiplied by a raised to the power 2, a in 2 places, a multiplied by a. Now let's open the brackets. We have a multiplied by a multiplied by a multiplied by a multiplied by a, then multiplied by a multiplied by a. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is equal to a in 7 places. We have a raised to the power of 7. So from here, hence a raised to the power of 5 multiplied by a raised to the power of 2 will now be equal to a raised to the power of 5 plus 2, which is equal to a raised to the power of 7. Can you see? It's very simple. Rule 2. Division of indices. A raised to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n will be equal to a raised to the power of m minus n. So if you have 2 indices and you have to divide it, so you just take the base. If they are having the same basis, then you take one base, then their power, you are going to subtract the power from each other. Now, for example, if we have a raised to the power of 7 divided by a raised to the power of 2, it's the same thing as a raised to the power of 7 divided by a raised to the power of 2 is the same thing as a in 7 places, a multiplied by 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 a. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 divided by a multiplied by a. So a cancel a cancel a. So we are left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A raised to the power of 5. So hence a raised to the power 7 divided by a raised to the power 2 is equal to a raised to the power of 7 minus 2, which is equal to a raised to the power of 5. Rule 3. A raised to the power of m bracket n will be equal to a raised to the power of m n. So, e.g., if we have a raised to the power of 5, then multiply by 2. So it will be equal to a in 5 places, multiply by a, multiply by a, multiply by a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you are going to square it. Squaring means that you are going to multiply it twice. So it's equal to a multiplied by a, multiplied by a, multiplied by a, multiplied by a. Then multiplying it twice, a multiplied by a, multiplied by a, multiplied by a, multiplied by a. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So a raised to the power of 5 multiplied by 2 will now be equal to a raised to the power of 10. So, rule 4. If we have any number raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Why is it so? Now, according to rule 2 which says a raised to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n. So let's use rule 2 to prove that any number raised to the power of 0 will be equal to 1. If you have a raised to the power of 3 divided by a raised to the power of 3, no, it's the same thing as a raised to the power of 3 divided by a raised to the power of 3, which is the same thing as a multiplied by a multiplied by a divided by a multiplied by a multiplied by a. Then this a cancel a cancel a cancel a is equal to 1 over 1 and is equal to 1. Similarly, if you use the rule a cubed divided by a cubed will be equal to a raised to the power of 3 minus 3 is equal to a raised to the power of 0, which will eventually give you 1. So that's how to show that any number raised to the power of 0 will definitely give you 1. Rule 5. A raised to the power of minus m will be equal to 1 over a raised to the power of m. That is, the negative of power will be the reciprocal of the base and raised to the power of that power. So for example, if we have a raised to the power of minus 2 will be equal to 1 over a raised to the power 2. X raised to the power of minus 4 will be equal to 1 over x raised to the power of 4, and so on and so forth. Now, another rule, rule 6, a raised to the power of 1 over m will be equal to square root of a. So, a raised to the power of reciprocal of power will be equal to square root of that a. For example, if we have a raised to the power of 1 over 2 is the same thing as square root of a. X raised to the power of 1 over 3 will be equal to cube root of x. And x raised to the power of 1 over 5 will be equal to 5 then square root of x. So that is how to do that one. So rule 7. You have to take note of all these rules because you are going to be finding it in the previous lessons. So if we have a raised to the power of n over m, so it's the same thing as a raised to the power of n multiplied by 1 over m. Or you can say that a raised to the power of 1 over m multiplied by n. So for example, if we have a raised to the power of 2 over 3 will be equal to a raised to the power of 2 multiplied by 1 over 3, or you can say that a raised to the power of 1 over 3 multiplied by 2. So and recall that a raised to the power of 1 over 3 is equal to cube roots of a. So it means that a raised to the power of 1 over 3 multiplied by 2 will be equal to cube root of a. Then you are going to square it. So that's how to do that one. Examples. 1. A raised to the power of 0. We want to find it. 2. 5 raised to the power of minus 1. 10 raised to the power of minus 3. 8 raised to the power of 1 over 3. 10 raised to the power of 1 over 2. 8 raised to the power of 2 over 3. 7. 27 raised to the power of 2 over 3. 8 minus 3. Then minus 32 raised to the power of 1 over 5. 9. 1 over 9 raised to the power of 0. 10 minus 27 raised to the power of minus 2 over 3, and so on. So solution number 1. Any number raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So 2. 5 raised to the power of minus 1 will be equal to 1 over 5. You know, it's like reciprocal of that base. So 3. 10 raised to the power of minus 3 will be equal to 1 over 10 raised to the power of 3, which is equal to 1 over 1000. And you can say that it's the same thing as 0.001. Number 4. 8 raised to the power of 1 over 3 will be equal to cube root of 8. And cube root of 8 will be equal to 2. Or you can just say that 8 raised to the power 1 over 3 will be equal to 2 raised to the power 3, which is 8 multiplied by I raised to the power of 1 over 3. So 3, we cancel 3, so we have 2 raised to the power 1 and is equal to 2. Number 5. 100 raised to the power of 1 over 2 will be equal to square root of 100. And that is equal to 10. Number 6. 8 raised to the power of 2 over 3 will be equal to 8 raised to the power of 1 over 3 multiplied by 2. Or 8 raised to the power of 1 over 3 raised to the power of 2 will be equal to cube root of 8 raised to the power of 2, which is equal to 2 raised to the power of 2, and it is equal to 4. Number 7. 27 raised to the power of 2 over 3 will be equal to 27 raised to the power of 1 over 3 raised to the power of 2. So cube root of 27 raised to the power of 2 will be equal to 3 raised to the power of 2, and it is equal to 9. Is equal to square root of minus 32 minus 32. So, and 32 is equal to 2 raised to the power of 5. So you can just say that minus 32 raised to the power of 1 over 5 will be equal to minus 2 over 5, then 1 over 5. 5 cancel 5, so minus 2 raised to the power of 1 is equal to minus 2. Number 9. 1 over 9 raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. It means that any number raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So number 10. Minus 27 raised to the power of minus 2 over 3 will be equal to minus 27 raised to the power of minus 1 over 3 raised to the power of 2. So minus 3 raised to the power of 3 multiply by minus 1 over 3, then raised to the power of 2. This 3 will cancel this 3. So minus 3 raised to the power of minus 1 multiplied by 2 will be equal to minus 3 raised to the power of minus 2. And that will be equal to 1 over minus 3 squared, which is equal to 1 over 9. 625 raised to the power of minus 1 over 4 will be equal to 5 raised to the power of 4 multiplied raised to the power of minus 1 over 4. So this 4 will cancel this 4. So it's equal to 5 raised to the power of negative 1. And that is equal to 1 over 5. Number 12. X cubed raised to the power of minus 2 over 3 will be equal to, this 3 will cancel this 3, so we have x raised to the power of minus 2, which is equal to 1 over x raised to the power of 2. Minus 3, 4, 3 raised to the power of minus 1 over 3 will be equal to minus 7 raised to the power of 3 raised to the power of minus 1 over 3. So this 3 will cancel this 3, so it's equal to minus 7 raised to the power of minus 1 is equal to 1 over minus 7. So that is the answer. Number 14. 1000 raised to the power of minus 5 over 3 is equal to 1000 means 10 raised to the power of 3. So multiply by a raised to the power of minus 5 over 3. So 3 cancel 3 is equal to 10 raised to the power of negative 5. And that is 1 over 10 raised to the power of 5. So that is that about that. So if you find this video very useful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are yet to subscribe, make sure you subscribe. Thank you. I love you all. Bye bye.